Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Wayne Johnson. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you. I'm actually delighted to be a part of this wonderful program where we have an opportunity to explore happiness, mindset, and professional development. I am based here in the United States of America on the East Coast, and I have been actively involved with working with the federal government, and I'm also actively involved in ministry as well. And one of the things that I really enjoy about this wonderful life, especially when it comes to mindset and when it comes to personal development and when it comes to happiness, is the opportunity to share with people like you the wonderful things that have happened in my life and in your life as well. And I spent 34 years with the federal government as an occupation. That was my vocation in a number of different areas. And I always had the opportunity to serve others during my career and also put myself in a position where others could serve me to help me to be better. And I believe one of the many keys to happiness is putting yourself in a position where you can serve other people. I believe that's where true fulfillment comes. And it's just an awesome experience. It keeps you smiling. That's why I smile so much, because I'm always in a position where I can serve people, but equally important, put myself in a position where I can also be served by others, because it helps with my own personal and professional development as well. As a part of my journey, right out of college, I had an opportunity to go into leadership positions as an early person in their 20s. And then as I moved into my 30s, I had an opportunity to move into the mid-level leadership aspects of my career, and I really enjoyed that. And then in my 40s and 50s, working at the senior level and just having an opportunity to impact the lives of many people in a very positive way, but at the same time, having them to impact my life as well. And I believe that when you have the conversation around mindset, which also goes hand in hand with happiness, then it's attitudinal, having the desire to want to help people, but also being in a position where people can help us as well. And so happiness has a great deal to do with not only how we live our lives, but what we actually do with our lives. And I know there are a lot of people around the world that are looking for happiness and they're seeking happiness. And where do we find it? I submit to you that based upon what Kevin Johnson has learned, and I'll share with you during this time, that it has a lot to do with just putting yourself in a position where you can help other people and you can serve other people, help them to be the best that they can be. It brings you happiness and fulfillment, and it also gives them the opportunity to take a look at some areas in their lives where they can get better and they can improve themselves. And it's a win-win situation. Everybody wins. And that's the mindset or the attitude that we bring to everything that we do each and every day, because it's that attitude, the free will, that really compels us to take the necessary action that's needed in this life. Interestingly enough, I happen to be the author of this book because this is a very interesting place where I am in my life, where I talk about leadership quite a bit, but leadership with a servant's heart. And that word servant, again, ties back into what we're talking about in terms of happiness and also mindset, because it's from the heart that you and I recognize and acknowledge the importance of valuing people, caring about people, respecting people, and honoring people right where they are. And in doing so, getting to know them better so that we can serve them. And then while we serve them, that's what brings, again, happiness to our lives and to their lives as well. It's a really interesting concept. And it takes time. to learn how to take focus off of self and then put your focus on the best interest of other people. But if we could get into our own mindset in terms of recognizing and acknowledging that as a principle that we should live by, then like anything else that we do, when you start to do it over and over and over again through repetition, after several times, it becomes a habit. And your mindset then has evolved and changed and been renewed to the point where you recognize that having the mindset and having the attitude to want to help other people now becomes a habit. And now we are well on our way to enjoying a happy and fulfilled life. I firmly believe that. And so these are some of the principles and strategies that we share with leaders. And by the way, leadership is not based on position or title, but being a leader is core to who we are as people. Recognizing the giftedness of others, recognizing their talents, respecting their knowledge and their intelligence, and then helping them as they navigate the roads. That's really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about servant leadership. Not necessarily the title or position that you have on your job, but it's core to who you are as a person. And so that's happiness. And I believe it's also very, very closely associated with our mindset, because again, if we can think in our minds about the importance of serving and helping other people, and we do it repeatedly over time, it becomes a habit. And we don't necessarily have to think about it, but we'll wake up every morning and that's what's on our heart and that's what's on our mind. And so I love to write. It brings me a great deal of happiness. And I've written 17 books and I have about 4 more to go before I think I'll call it quits. But you never know, I might continue on. The other area that I want to share with you, in addition to happiness and in addition to mindset, is in the area of personal development. Personal development has everything to do with our desire to always want to grow and to be better and to do better. I often tell everyone that leaders are learners. And what does that mean, Kevin? Well, that means that you and I are always in a position where we're very much interested in learning more. And we want to expand our vocabulary. We want to have a higher level of awareness around current issues. We want to understand history, because history has a lot to do with where we are today, not just in your country, but wherever you might be around the world. And we should never let our thirst quench or our hunger to be satisfied when it comes to learning. It's a phenomenal thing. And it ties back into our personal development. Now, here's a quick story that I'll share with you. I mentioned earlier that I worked for the federal government here in the United States for 34 years, and I retired about 4 years ago. So now that I'm retired, I'm doing different things, but primarily in the area of leadership development, which is also a cross section of personal development as I serve other people of all ages, of all cultures, all ethnicities, all genders, across generations, around the world. It's a topic that I absolutely love, and that's my way of serving people. Well, what got me to that point was my own personal development. As I was developing as a person in my family, being married, raising 3 sons, and now raising 2 god granddaughters, and they're young, so they're 7 years old and 7 months old, so they're young, but also in the job in terms of professional development. And it's through the development that I learned how important it is to always want to learn more so that we can grow and be better and put ourselves in a position to help other people. Well, my story is this. What led me to writing books? And who has time to write 17 books when you're also working every day and you're also actively involved in ministry? Well, I did. I found the time, right? Because it's about the mindset and it's about happiness, following what makes us happy, and then having the attitude and the mindset to want to continue with personal development. So, as an author of nonfiction books, I have to study, I have to do research, I have to ask questions, I have to gather information. All of that is part of learning. And then I'm in a position to put everything together to make it a good book for all of the readers who need that information and who glean from that information. So that's just one of many different examples of how and why we should always make sure that our thirst and our hunger stays very, very active when it comes to learning, because professional development is so incredibly important. The other story that I'll share with you is when I was 16 years old in the 11th grade here in the United States, I switched high schools. I was in high school at Kellum High School in Virginia Beach, Virginia. My father retired from the military during my junior year in high school, and we relocated back to Richmond, Virginia, which is our home. And I had to enroll and enter into a new high school at a very, very pivotal time in my life at 16 years old. Now, a 16-year-old does not see in themselves what an adult can see in terms of potential. So, on the topic of personal development, I also was able to excel in English. I was really good in English at a very early age. And while I was trying to get adjusted to this new high school, Armstrong High School in Richmond, Virginia, in the 11th grade, my 11th grade English teacher, Mrs. Atkins, she kind of recognized that I wasn't my usual self as I was trying to make the transition. While I was doing good in her class, I was also having to deal with self-esteem and trying to get to know the new students and them getting to know me, because I was a little popular there back in Virginia Beach, and now I'm in Richmond. And even though it's our hometown, we had been away for a long time. And she did something that was very interesting in terms of identifying the potential that's in me and as a part of my personal development. I had tried out for the basketball team at the new school and I didn't make it. And I was a little dejected and a little embarrassed. And Mrs. Atkins could pick up on that. She could tell. So one day she came to me and she said, "Kevin, I realize what happened with the basketball team, but you are really, really good in English and you really, really know the topic. And I want you to consider this. I want you to go to that basketball coach and I want you to let him know that you are open and available to be the announcer for the basketball games. You'll do the play-by-play and you'll announce the home team and the visiting team in the gymnasium that holds about 300 people. They'll hear your voice behind the microphone." And I said, "Okay, all right, not a problem. I won't be able to wear the uniform on the court, but I'll be involved somehow, some way." So I did go to the basketball coach and I let him know that I was interested, and he said yes. Now, what I found out later was Mrs. Atkins had already had the conversation with him to say that she had a very, very high potential student that is a little dejected that he didn't make the team, but he could add value to the team by being the announcer. And one thing led to another. Everything worked out well. Miss Atkins knew that I had a good grip on the English language. She knew I was a good speaker. People would resonate with my voice. But then she did something else, and this is all about personal development, and this is all about happiness and serving other people and helping people to be the best that they can be. She said the next year, during my senior year in the 12th grade, she said, Kevin, I want you to think about how wonderful the experience has been with the basketball team. And now I want you to go and have a conversation with the football coach, because the person that was responsible for the play-by-play announcements for the football team has graduated and they need somebody else. This time you'll be at the city stadium that holds 8,000 people. You'll be in the press box behind the microphone, and you'll be able to announce the visiting team and the home team, but you'll also be responsible for calling the homecoming game as well. And so I said, well, okay, I'll do that. And the football coach said yes. And I found out later, again, Mrs. Atkins had already approached the football coach to make that happen. So I was very, very happy when it was all said and done at that high school. I was only there for 2 years. But when I first came in, it just felt very strange. I didn't know anybody. No one knew me. But interestingly enough, my 11th grade teacher, Mrs. Atkins, saw something in me that a 16-year-old could not see in himself or herself at that time, to help me on my way to enjoying a fulfilling career. And in part, what I've learned from that experience is what I share with so many others. And that's why I'm a big proponent. When it comes to happiness, it's all about helping and serving other people. When it comes to mindset, it's about having the right attitude to be in a position where you can always look around you and see who needs help, and then be in that position to do just that. And then in the area of personal development, always be looking to learn and grow and do exciting things, because there's so much that awaits us and there's so much that we don't know. But through research and study and looking up information, it just makes us that much better, so that each one of us individually and collectively can then go out and make the world a much better place.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing this wisdom with us. And this is
Yes.
a topic which is very, very dear to me, the leadership, because I believe really in what you said, that we don't need a title in order to become leaders. And at some point in one of my trainings, I was saying that we are leaders in our life and in our business, and we can do that. And I would like to ask you, what do you think should be the qualities of a leader in order to be able to help other people? What qualities should we develop as leaders?
Well, 3 qualities in particular come to mind. Number 1, being a person of character. Number 2 is being a person with a high degree of integrity. And then number 3 is a person that understands the importance of showing respect to other people. So a person of character is someone that you can really count on, because when they say they're going to do something, they do it. When they say they're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, you can count on them to be there. And they're pretty much the same person that you see in public as they are in private when you can't see them. So a person of high character is someone that we can trust and that we can follow, because we know that they keep their word. Same is true of a person with integrity. So we know a person with integrity is always going to do the right thing. Now, none of us are perfect, and I recognize that, but with integrity, you are led to do what's right at all times. And that's very, very key for leaders to have as a characteristic and an attribute. And then last but not least, for my top 3, the other one is respect. A person who respects himself or herself, but equally important, shows a great deal of respect to other people, regardless of what that person may have done or what they may have said or how they think or how they process information. Just being respectful. One of the best things that a leader can do in terms of showing respect is taking the time to listen to others. And listening means hearing them out, not necessarily agreeing with what they say, but hearing them out without changing the subject and without interrupting. So those are just a few and the top three that come to mind that leaders must have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. And one thing that comes into mind, because you mentioned personal development. And do you think that if a leader develops personally, can actually lead better the team and the organization compared to the other person who maybe has some values, but maybe doesn't have self-love or doesn't have, as you mentioned, respect for himself or herself?
Yeah, the person that is always in the mode and open to personal development is the person that's demonstrating that they're always eager to learn something that maybe they don't know. And the more time that you all take and the more time that I take to get to really know people that are around us, it sends a very, very clear message that I'm interested in being able to work with you and to help to develop you. And getting to build those relationships and getting to know people ultimately leads to trust. And then once we have trust, then we can truly work together to get things done. And it takes time to get there. So the person that's always interested in personal development, regardless of where they might be in life, is the type of leader that is demonstrating that they're open and they're receptive to wanting to learn more about people, wanting to learn more about a particular subject or a particular topic. And they're more inquisitive and they're more interesting in terms of being around, because they're clearly sending the message that they want to know more and they want to learn more so that they can do more. The person that is a little hesitant and reluctant to continue to develop themselves sort of sends the message that I know it all. I already have the answers. I don't need your help. And when it's all said and done, we all need each other and we all need each other's help. So it really never ends. When you think about where we are globally and trying to come out of this pandemic, every leader should have taken that opportunity to learn more and more and more about world events, about what's going on with technology, because we're using technology much more. How does it impact people? Understanding the human element. These are all opportunities to take the time to learn something that if we didn't have a pandemic, we probably would not have taken the time to learn about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin. I am honored to have you here in this show, and all the wisdom and knowledge that you share with us. I learned a lot, and I know that also our audience is learning, because these are techniques and strategies that we can apply every single day. We can help someone every single day. It doesn't have to be in a leadership role. And I truly believe in this. Thank you so much for being today with me here.
All right. Thank you so much.